Welcome, guys, to ETH 99's How to Use Encounter Sun in VGC presentation. Bow, bow, bow. So, um, if anyway, I'm going to go over how to use and counter Sun in Pokemon, specifically doubles. Although, I guess in singles it's probably about the same, so it doesn't matter that much. What you're here for. Anyway, here's what we're going to be going over today. First, we're going to be going over how to set Sun, the effects of Sun, how to build, and how to beat. So, there are two ways you can set Sun. Let's just hop straight into it. Abilities and moves, and more specifically, two abilities now. So here we have Groudon. Groudon at home, Groudon with extra steps, Groudon but garbage, and Groudon but illegal. Okay. What do all of these Pokemon have in common? They all set the Sun, and 4 of them have Drought, and 1 of them has Drought with extra steps, which is hence why Koraidon is just Groudon with extra steps. If you guys don't know, Koraidon's ability Orichalcum Pulse sets the Sun, and then also boosts his attack stat while he's in the Sun. So it's just Drought, but better, because, I don't know, because it is. Now, how else do you set Sun? Well, the move Sunny Day, as far as I'm aware, it's the only move that is legal in Pokemon right now, or I mean, like in Scarlet Violet, that allows you to set the Sun. And it is always used as a secondary source, basically never as a primary source of Sun. Basically, a Sun team needs a Pokemon with the ability Drought or Koraidon. I'm just going to say Drought because I don't want to keep saying or Koraidon. So basically, a Sun team always needs a Drought Pokemon, and some teams can also really benefit from having a Sunny Day Pokemon, but they don't have to have a Sunny Day Pokemon. But if you are having a Sunny Day Pokemon, you almost always want Prankster, and that's in order to activate other abilities that use the Sun with priority, because, well, specifically Chlorophyll, because Chlorophyll boosts your speed in the Sun. So being able to set the Sun with priority means that it doesn't matter if your it doesn't matter if your Prankster Pokemon is slower than whatever your Chlorophyll Pokemon is, because it has priority. This here is every last one. Every single Prankster Pokemon with the access to Sunny Day. By far and away, the best ones are Tornadus and Whimsicott. It is actually not close. They're head and shoulders above everything else on this list. They're head and shoulders above pretty much every Prankster Pokemon. I would say that Tornadus and Whimsicott are... Okay, so I'd say they're two of the 3 best ones. I would say Grimmsnarl is also very good, but Grimmsnarl does not get Sunny Day. But the fact that 2 of the best Prankster Pokemon in the game have access to Sunny Day means that, well, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It just is it's just good. Okay, like, and some of these Pokemon are definitely usable, but these are the best ones by a lot. Now, what are the effects of Sun? Well, there's a lot of them, and I don't want to say them all, because a lot of them don't matter. So, here are the big ones. Power of Fire-type moves is increased by 50%. The power of Water-type moves decreases by 50%. Pokemon with the ability Chlorophyll double their speed. And that's kind of it. There are a few more that are impactful, but not like super impactful, like Thunder and Hurricane accuracy lowers to 50%, and Solar Blade and Solar Beam only take 1 turn, but in all reality, Chlorophyll, Fire type moves increasing, and Water type moves decreasing are the big 3. Now let's talk about Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is... You're going to see a Chlorophyll Pokemon on basically every Sun team. If you have a Sun team, you want one of these things. It's really good. It's Swift Swim, but it's in the Sun, and that's pretty much it. And they're all grass types, and these are the good ones. Okay, so basically, Venusaur has a lot of historical success, mostly in Sword and Shield, I would say, just because it's well because its Gigantamax was so strong. But Groudon Venusaur was absolutely terrorizing 2022. It's just really really strong. Like mostly it's strong because of Sleep Powder, because Sleep Powder is one of the most universally hated moves in Pokemon, just because it's so fast. Like Venusaur's so fast in the sun that you basically outspeed everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can outspeed basically everything if you train it to. And I mean, just being able to put Pokemon to sleep is very strong. It's only 75% accurate though, keep that in mind. And also Venusaur is actually not super frail. Like its stats are pretty decent all around. And it actually hits not super hard, but like decently, especially with like powerful moves like Leaf Storm and Sludge Bomb, both of which are very good. And next we have Jumpluff. Jumpluff is I I'm not a Jumpluff believer personally, but it's good. Like it has the results, especially recently, to back it up. Koraidon Jumpluff was running around a lot. It was it was everywhere in Reg G. So being able to chlorophyll, so being very fast, and then having access to sleep powder and tailwind, so being able to really support your team and being very fast in the sun is just really good. And then we also have Lilligant, who is definitely worse than these, but can do unique things with after you. We saw a lot of Torkoal teams running around with Lilligant because you could just Terrifier Torkoal. You'd lead Lilligant Torkoal, you'd Terrifier Torkoal, and you would use after you with Lilligant, and you'd have like a crazy fast, crazy high power, like this turtle would be just this turtle beat the hair every day of the week, okay, and it just hits super hard, and it was really hard to outspeed it. And I lost a lot of games with that, mostly because I think the team I was using at the time didn't really have a good answer to that. But yeah, it's definitely not as strong as these two, but it has its place. And Scovillain is probably the weakest Pokemon on this list. I mean, probably for sure the weakest Pokemon on this list, actually. It just has like no usage ever. Like, to be fair, it's by far the newest. This is a Gen 1, Gen 3? Is Jumpluff a Gen 3? I think he's Gen 3. He could be Gen 4. I to be fair, like I get kind of mixed up on I started in Gen 5, so I get kind of mixed up on Gens 3 and 4 sometimes, but I think he's Hoenn. Lilligant's Gen 5, Scovillain is Gen 9, so Scovillain is by far the newest one. He's every Pokemon on this list is more than a decade old, except for Scovillain, who's like 2 years old. I mean, Venusaur is over 20 years old. So Venusaur's almost 30 now. Yeah. Anyway, so Scovillain has far less results, like far less results. But I put it on here just because it's a chlorophyll user with who is a fire type, and that's just pretty strong. Like that should just be good. I think it hasn't had a situation in which it is good yet, but I think in the future we will definitely see it on teams. Not in a restricted format, but in a non-restricted format for sure. Now we have other abilities that are activated in the sun. Solar power. Basically, only Charizard has this. There's some other ones, but Charizard is like the only good one because Mega Houndoom is illegal. Basically, it's a 50% boost to your special attack when you're in the sun, and you lose 1/8 of your HP at the end of every turn. So basically, your ability is a life orb on like mega steroids, like mega steroids. But it's a very good ability. That's part of the reason why it's so rare, and also why Charizard gets it because he's Game Freak's golden boy. Next, we have Protosynthesis. It's the newest ability. It boosts the stat of whatever is the highest stat of the Pokemon while it's in the sun. So if your highest stat is Fluttermane, sorry, yeah, if on Fluttermane your highest stat is special attack, it boosts your special attack by 33%. And if your highest stat is speed on Fluttermane, then it boosts your speed by 50%. Why is speed 50% and every other stat 33%? Uh, well, actually, I think it's because they want to be able to match Choice Scarf because I think they wanted to kind of nerf Choice Scarf because Choice Scarf is just that good. It's a staple, and I think they were trying to bring it down a notch. Obviously, it's not a big nerf to Choice Scarf because I don't think Choice Scarf is broken, even though it's very strong. But I think that anyway. Just remember, it's a 50% speed boost and a 33% boost to everything else. Well, the one thing when in the sun, you get what I'm saying. And finally, fire types. I mean, sun is the fire type's natural habitat, and it is not debatable. It basically removes its weakness to water, and it basically gives it double stab on all fire type moves because of the sun. The sun, every fire type loves being in the sun. I mean, without exception. I'm fairly certain. I cannot think of a single exception off the top of my head. Fire types love the sun. I just put Shiyu there because it's a fire type, and it's good. And it's a special attacker because most fire type moves tend to be special attacking. So special attacking fire types tend to be stronger than physical attacking fire types. How do you build sun? Well, you need a source of sun. You need a drought Pokemon, and you absolutely have to have this. This is the core of a sun team. You also have to have at least one user of sun. In other words, one chlorophyll Pokemon, one solar power Pokemon, one photosynthesis. You have to have at least something that directly benefits from being in the sun. And most sun teams that you're going to see, at least competitive and good sun teams, are going to have at least two, and probably two is on average. So then you have speed control. Sometimes speed control is without a doubt the most important, in my opinion. So I guess not without a doubt, but in my opinion, the most important aspect of Pokemon. There are teams that have had success in the past without speed control, but they're so far and few between, and every team really, almost every successful team is going to have speed control. To the point where it's almost just mandatory to have speed control, and it is 100% mandatory in my opinion on Sun because Pokemon and for Joy being in the Sun tend to be frail. This does not have anything to do with being in the Sun. It's just that they do. Like Venusaur is on the bulkier side of Sun Pokemon, and it's not bulky. Jumpluff is super frail. Fluttermane is super frail. Charizard is super frail. Chi-Yu is frail. Well, I mean, Chi-Yu doesn't really directly benefit from being in the sun, other than being just a fire type. But you get what I mean. Like, they just tend to be frail. Like, sure, Torkoal is like super physical. Torkoal and Groudon are both super physically bulky, but they both kind of died of special moves. So, I mean, you need speed control because if you're getting hit first, then it doesn't really matter if you have control to whether or not. And most of the time, the speed control is going to be Tailwind, but it can also be Trick Room. And type coverage. So basically, you have one Pokemon giving you a source of the sun. On average, probably two Pokemon benefiting from the sun. So that's three. Then you have a speed control, so four. And then you have two Pokemon that are just there to give your team defensive typing. It's really, really easy to over-index on fire types in sun teams because you see fire types and say, "Oh, I love fire types. Like, let me put fire types on my team. I want to burn everybody. Oh, the world will burn. Oh, we didn't start the fire. Ah, you know what I mean? I did start the fire. I guess what you'd be saying. I did start the fire. Anyway, that song is so catchy for like no reason. I do not like that song. Also, it's like before my time, so I don't even really understand half the references in the song. I understand some of them, but some of them I just don't get. Moving on. Basically, you need defensive typing. If you have all fire types, you're just going to get rolled by ground and rock types. And ground types are very good. There's going to be a lot of them in any given format. Rock types maybe less so, but Rock Slide is historically a very good move in Pokemon, and you just need good coverage. The good thing about it is that you naturally have grass types most of the time on a Sun team, just because every chlorophyll Pokemon is a grass type. So you normally have a couple at least one grass type to kind of offset this, but you definitely need other typings in order to you need other typings. It's just that simple. Now let's look at some teams that have historically been, not historically, just teams that have had competitive success in the past. Here, our first example is Joseph Ugarte's Worlds 2022 team, in which he placed 22nd. That's a pretty good number to place in Worlds 2022. I would remember that because it's funny. It's well, not really funny, but it's ironic, I guess. So you see, he has a drought Pokemon in Groudon. He has two Pokemon that directly benefit from the sun in Charizard and Venusaur. You also have a uh, also the drought Pokemon basically always benefits from the sun anyway. There's no drought Pokemon that doesn't benefit from the sun. So so yeah, I guess. So I guess it's technically like three. And also this Incineroar just removes his water weakness. He just likes it, you know. Like the cat doesn't like getting wet, and if in the sun, he doesn't have to get wet. Sorry, I had to scratch my nose. Then you have your speed control Lunala, and then both Lunala and Grimmsnarl are Pokemon that don't need to be in the sun to be good. They're just good. So, and they also just offer defensive type coveraging. Not super obviously, but neither of them are weak to like rock or grass or water. So, yeah, the idea. Also, I don't think that Joseph's or Ugarte, I guess is probably the best way you should. I don't think Ugarte's Incineroar had a fire type move, which is slightly surprising to me on a Sun team, but I guess you'd probably just relying on the burn from Gigantamax Charizard. Next we have Marco Silva's the International Sao Paulo Championship winning team. This is just from last year. You have a Sunsetter. You have two Pokemon directly benefiting from the sun. Once again, an Incineroar who doesn't probably care that much, but just likes not being weak to fire anymore. And then two forms of speed control this time, which is always good. One in Tailwind with Jumpluff, and the other one in Trick Room with Porygon 2. And then two Pokemon that once again just don't share any weaknesses with the rest of your fighting type, the rest of your really fire type team, and can function completely by themselves. But in Ursaluna and Porygon 2. So there's another solid example of a Sun team. And finally, this is Jonathan Evans' Player Cup 3 winning team. This is what you'd call a dual Sun team. This is not dual Sun, a dual weather team. This is a very interesting archetype. It's one of my favorites to play. It's a lot of fun to play. It's also one of the hardest ways to play, in my opinion. But it's very good. As you can see, he won with it. The Players Cup 3 it's a very major tournament, or at least it was when we didn't have in-person events. So here we have a Sunsetter, a Pokemon that directly benefits from the sun in Venusaur, and once again an Incineroar who just likes being in the sun. He likes to sunbathe. It's funny because I feel like a lot of Sun teams don't have Incineroar, but I picked three teams to review that have Incineroar. That wasn't on purpose, by the way, it just happened. Anyway, but what's cool about this team is you can see it has a Drizzle Pokemon in Kyogre. I'm not sure what the moveset was on his Tornadus now that I think about it. I don't. The thing is, Tornadus has a ton of really good moves. Its move pool is fantastic. Even before it had Bleak Wind Storm, it was fantastic. So I'm not sure what his moves were. I wouldn't be surprised if it had Sunny Day. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I don't know if it did or not. It could also have Rain Dance. I have no idea. Anyway, so now I'm going to go over. It's a pretty short section, so bear with me before we get to how to beat Sun. If you're just watching it to learn how to do that, this is a Sun add-on, and I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it even has a name officially, but basically, it's a strong core of Pokemon that do not use the sun most of the time. Pokemon that don't care about the weather. It's generally it's four Pokemon that work really well together and are just really strong and are good in most matchups. Like most of the time when you're playing a game, you bring these four. This is the core of your team. And you just add 2 Sunmons and then call it good. It basically, like, adding 2 Sunmons basically adds a completely new idea to the team that it didn't have previously. It gives it 2 modes. Now you have the mode you use most of the time, which is your strong core of just good stuff Pokemon. But you also have the ability to shift into a Sun team, either in matchups that are particularly bad for your core, for your core of 4 Pokemon, or in maybe weather matchups where you want to be able to abuse the fact that you have weather. Almost always they are these they're let me back up. Almost always a Sun add-on is Venusaur and its Torkoal, just because it's really solid, and also Sun add-ons are way more common in non-restricted formats than they are in restricted formats. And even in non-restricted formats, and even in restricted formats, you're still going to be using Torkoal because your strong core of 4 Pokemon, you can't just have a restricted sitting outside that. Like, your restricted needs to be coming almost always, especially if you have if you have one specifically, it always basically needs to be coming. And if you have two, both of them should still be coming in almost every game. So you don't want basically this is always going to be Torkoal, and then it doesn't have to be Venusaur, but most of the time it's going to be Venusaur just because it's probably the most flexible chlorophyll Pokemon, because it's able to support and it's also able to do damage, which none of the other ones are able to do. Because Jumpluff is able to support better than Venusaur without a doubt. It's more supportive than Venusaur, but just can't do any damage at all. Lilligant is also maybe not a better support than Venusaur, but it is definitely support, and it has absolutely no offensive capability outside of just like clicking Leaf Storm once. And Scovillain has very little supportive ability. I think it actually gets Rage Powder. I'm actually not sure if it gets Sleep Powder. I know it gets Rage Powder. I don't think it gets Sleep Powder though. Maybe it does. Anyway, Scovillain is much more focused around dealing damage. So Venusaur is able to both deal damage and support, which when you only have one Sun user, you need to be able to do both with the same Pokemon, basically. Now, how to beat. Some of you are probably just going to skip to this portion of the video. I don't blame you. Anyway, I wouldn't want to listen to me that long either. So how to beat it, the best way is alternative weather, specifically rain. Rain is the best. It's probably the best matchup just on paper into Sun. And sand is also good in the Sun, but not like great. It's probably neutral in the Sun. And then ice is super bad in the Sun. Please don't ever try to bring your ice team to beat a Sun team. It's like or snow, I guess now. Like, please don't do it. I'll cry. I probably will cry, actually. Sorry, I need some water. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, the other way you can beat Sun teams is outspeeding them. I don't know why this is. It's not because of Sun, but for some reason, Pokemon that enjoy being in the Sun tend to be more frail. Like, there isn't a specific reason for this, but they're just frailer on average. I think it's because their abilities tend to be good, so they're balanced by having weak defensive stats, and oftentimes also kind of weak offensive stats. But basically, they tend to be frail, and if you can outspeed them, most commonly in Tailwind or also in Trick Room, then sometimes Sun teams can just crumble. They really can just crumble. And also, a lot of times, Sun teams don't have a ton of speed control because they also have to control the weather. So one of the problems with playing Sun is that you have to be able to balance multiple different aspects of the game between how often do you switch out your Sunsetters, how often do you switch in your speed control, how often you attack. These are like basically most of the time you have to balance speed control with attacking. You don't with Sun and with all weather really. You have to balance speed control, attacking, and also weather setting. So oftentimes in these teams, one of them falls to the wayside. Now, a good, like, really well built Sun team is this is going to be hard to exploit, but it's still, at its core, it's still really a problem of the Sun archetype. So, I mean, outspeeding them is definitely probably the best way to go outside of alternative weather. And strong fire types. Now you might be saying, wait, I came to this section to learn how to beat Sun, not play Sun. What, you said strong fire types were good in Sun teams. Well, they are, but guess what? Guess what all fire type Pokemon like being? It's in the Sun. And guess what? Fire type is a good type, even if it's not in the Sun. You should probably have a fire type on your team. It's one of the best types in the game. Just having a fire type in the Sun is your Sun Pokemon, your fire type is benefiting just as much from the Sun as their Pokemon are. So, is that going to outright win you games? Absolutely not. But it's definitely a tool. Your fire types are one of the best tools you have in your arsenal against Sun teams specifically. Oh, okay. So basically, I thought there was another bullet point. Anyway, if there's a lot of Sun teams in the meta, and you're looking for a way to beat them consistently, or at least as consistently as you can, because one of the best strengths about Sun is that there isn't a strict counter to it. That's why it's so strong. It's because strong players can just say, "Hey, this team doesn't outright lose to anything. Like, I want to play it, and then just rely on my play to be better." So that's part of why Sun is so strong. Anyway, if you're looking at if there's a lot of Sun in the meta, then Rain and alternative weather. Well, okay, Rain and then to a lesser extent Sand are both very good options just to take into Sun in general. If you're finding that you're consistently losing to Sun teams, even though you kind of feel like you shouldn't be on paper, oftentimes it's a sign that your speed control is not where it should be. You don't have enough. You have too much bulk. You have too much offense. You don't have enough speed. Or like speed control is what I mean to say. So add speed control. If add speed control is going to help you in every matchup, especially against Sun. And if you're saying, okay, I feel like every time I fight Sun, I feel like I don't like it. Like I have this team that I like, and every time I see a Sun team, I groan. I just say, again. And I probably have like a 30% win rate into Sun. Well, you need to be using a fire type more effectively, or maybe you don't have a fire type. I would add one to your team. There are a lot of good fire types. I mean, Incineroar exists. It's Key's good in Sun. Like basically every fire type's good in Sun. So it'll help you. It'll help you to keep in mind that your fire type Pokemon is probably the best tool you have. It could potentially be the best tool you have against Sun teams in general. I feel like I kind of rambled there. Anyway, now that stage 2 of how to beat is just, let's say you already have a team built, and you're right before a tournament, and you're like a week away, and you realize that, Sun teams are everywhere, and I feel like I'm losing more than I'm winning. What can you do that are small changes to your team that don't involve actually using a new Pokemon? It's just changing out some small stuff about your team that can help you against Sun. Safety goggles is a big one. Okay, it is a very big one actually, because one of the things that Sun teams have, almost every Sun team has at their disposal, is sleep powder. So just being able to say your sleep powder doesn't matter is a major deal, especially when most of the time. Also, what makes Sun teams so strong is that the only Pokemon that are naturally immune to sleep powder are grass types. But grass types hate being in the sun. They're scared for their life. Okay, they don't hate it, but like, you know what I mean. They're scared of fire types in the sun. They literally just light on fire and they just die. Okay, they don't like it. But safety goggles is an item that gives you the benefits of being a grass type without the drawbacks. So it's pretty good. Next we have Rain Dance. Rain Dance can be an absolutely debilitating tool for you to use against your opponents. It could absolutely wreck them. In fact, it's probably the one I would recommend the most out of the 4 I'm going to share here. Most of the time, you probably want this on a prankster Pokemon. So if you have like a Whimsicott with space, actually, I don't know if Whimsicott gets Rain Dance. I know that Tornadus does. So if you like have a Tornadus and you feel like you're losing to Sun teams, then maybe just throw Rain Dance on it. Rain Dance is debilitating to Sun teams, and it's just debilitating. It really is. Fire type Pokemon hate being in the rain, and yeah, they just hate being in the rain. And getting rid and turning it from their favorite weather condition to their least favorite is always going to be good. Next, we have Wide Guard. A lot of fire type, not necessarily a lot of fire type moves. Well, a lot of fire type moves, but more broadly, a lot of moves that Sun teams use are spread moves. You have Heat Wave, you have Precipice Blaze, you have Eruption, you have. Well, now I can't think of it. You have like Dazzling Gleam from like Fluttermane. Like there are a lot of really powerful spread moves, and that Sun teams like to use. So just being able to say, haha, I can just block them, it's very good. Now, the only thing I will say about Wide Guard is that not very many Pokemon get it. So this one might be harder to fit on your team because a lot of Pokemon get Rain Dance, but not very many get Wide Guard. But it's also, but if you don't have space for Rain Dance, or if you already have Rain Dance and you still feel like you're losing, then Wide Guard is definitely a good option. And finally, Assault Vest. Um, I mean, Fire types are almost always special, and Assault Vest is super good against special Pokemon. It makes you way bulkier than you would otherwise be. Like way, way bulkier. So yeah. Specifically, like obviously like an assault vest on like a Wo-Chien is going to do absolutely deadly squat against a Sun team. But an assault vest on an Incineroar, all of a sudden you're resisting basically almost double resisting all fire type moves that come at you. And when you just and fire type moves are 100% the strongest part about a Sun team. So just being able to take a Sun team's offense out at the knees just makes it feel like a completely different matchup. So Assault Vests can be definitely good into Sun teams. Now to go over what we have covered. Sun is strong. It's very strong. It's very hard to counter. It's very naturally strong, and it has two parts. It has a maker, so a drought Pokemon, and a user. Most often a chlorophyll Pokemon, but solar power, there are other abilities too. Okay, photosynthesis. Sun teams, there are a lot of Pokemon that benefit from the sun, just fire types in general. And it's very flexible. Basically, you always have a drought Pokemon. You always have, on average, you have two Pokemon that, uh, on average, you have two Pokemon that use that benefit from the sun, and then you have like a speed control, so that's four. But then there's two slots that you can, sorry, and then there's two slots that you can kind of do anything you want with. Most of the time, it's just going to be strong Pokemon that have good defensive synergy. But really, there's two slots that you can do anything you want with, and that feels really good. Also, there's a lot of good Pokemon that work in the sun. So even though Sun is an established archetype with very familiar pieces, such as Venusaur, such as Torkoal, it's very flexible, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. And the best counter is Rain. Either Drizzle or, well, probably honestly, Rain Dance is a better counter than Drizzle. But Rain is the best counter. Fire types hate being in the rain, and some teams have a lot of fire types. So anyway, so that was my presentation. If you guys liked it, I guess you can leave a comment. I am not. So when I first started this, I was like, I want to do one for all the weather conditions. Like, here comes rain next. Like I'm going to be so excited when I get to sand because I love sand. But I feel like I don't know. I have technology like trouble sometimes, and sometimes I have a really difficult time. Like it took me way longer to make this slideshow than it should have. Like way, way longer. Like I guarantee like 90% of people listening now could have made this slideshow in half the time it took me to. So, and I feel like it wasn't even that high quality of a slideshow in the end. It was like high school quality. Like this is. I feel like I should be like. I feel like I want college level quality on this team, like maybe like more like college student level rather than high school student level quality of videos on this channel. So I'm not sure whether or not I'll do another one. Press like if you think I should do another one for the rest of the weather conditions, because I feel like this is not that much better than just me talking about sun, and it takes way longer to make. So I haven't even uploaded in like a week. Although to be fair, a lot of why I haven't uploaded in a week is because I had the stomach flu, and I don't know. I didn't want to puke all over my microphone. I use a fake face microphone, if you couldn't tell, because I'm broke. I actually am a college student. Haha, take that. Um. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you join me for the next one, or the previous one, or whatever video you're watching after this. So, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, and EEF out.